Market update here on the 12th. So market was pumping and then it sold off into the end of the day. Powell indicating only one cut for 2024. I guess the market was expecting 3 cuts. So we'll see. Next meeting they might change it again. That's pretty much how it works. The data might change, whatever. They change the narrative every time. So we'll see how it goes. But you can see here we're getting overextended anyway. Here, RSI 20, we're getting into overextended territory. You can see in February we were at 76. Right now we're at 72. December we were at 80. So maybe a little bit more room for higher, but not that much more. Short term, at least. I still think the market's probably going higher after the election in 2025. And that might actually be where we get the crazy melt up that like the David Hunters are talking about. I don't think that it's going to happen here. That's my opinion, but we'll see. Let's just get into the smaller time frame. So yesterday I was saying we're probably close to the top, but it just shot up immediately with a CPI release here. This could have been 5 waves on smaller time frames right here. Barely broke the top though, so it makes sense that it went higher than this. But you can see here, it came down, and then when he was speaking, it shot up here, made a new high, and then immediately sold off. Let's go down to the 5-minute time frame and just look at what happened. So actually, now looking at this on smaller time frames, this is actually likely to go higher. Look at this move right here. This looks to me like an ABC move. So A, and that makes me wish I would have closed out my Apple put, but whatever. I'll figure it out tomorrow. This move right here is definitely an ABC move, and then we get a sharp move at the end of the day, going down to the 1-minute time frame. I would suspect that this pumps one more time higher. This is probably the 4th wave. So this is more than likely the 3rd wave of the 5 waves right here. So I'm guessing that we're going to go like this. 1, 2, 3, pull back 4, and we're going to get one more move higher here. Probably into the end of the week, maybe into next week, maybe into OPEX. So they might hold this up through OPEX. But I'm looking for one more move higher, and then that would end probably the overall 3rd wave. Sorry, this keeps on going deeper than I'm thinking when I look at it more. This is probably going to be the end of the 3rd wave. So 1, 2, 3. So into the end of the week, we make one more high, maybe into next week, and then we pull back. Probably into like late June, early July, and then we probably get one more pump after that. Maybe into July OPEX, kind of similar to last year. And then that should complete the overall 3rd wave. Going back to, let me zoom out here again. So 3rd wave, I'm zoomed out too far now. I'm all over the place. So going back to the low here, 2022, this is only going to be the overall 3rd wave here. So 1, 2, 3, pull back 4, maybe into the election, and then 5th wave probably in 2025. Who knows how high that will go, but I don't think we're anywhere near the top. On QQQ, it might be different. I'll go to QQQ here in a second. I'm thinking QQQ might actually be towards the end of the impulse, but I'm thinking on QQQ, pull it up here. On QQQ, we might be looking at something around 500, and then I'm expecting something like this for the start of the pullback. Pullback into the election maybe, and then maybe a expanded flat when SPY is making its new highs like this, and then this. Something like that. Because I think that the 5 waves is getting really close to being finished. So this might still make new highs, but I think it's going to be similar to like the 1929 crash where they had a big move higher and then it just crashed straight down for the C leg down. I think something like that is possible for QQQ. So either one of these is probably going, they're both going much, much higher, but it's probably going to happen in 2025 in my opinion. Maybe like right after the election it starts, and who knows how long that will last. It could last a few months, could last a year, who knows. So basically on SPY, smaller time frames, I'm looking for a move higher into the end of this week, into next week, pull back, and then another move higher probably into mid-July to complete this overall third wave. And then you're looking at probably a pretty big pullback. So a lot of people are going to take the Fed meeting today as straight bearish. Right now, I don't see it. We'll see, but I think that it makes a lot of sense how Wall Street likes to do these kind of things. They like to delay it a little bit. So everyone that gets in too early gets screwed, and then they finally let it go after everyone's given up on their puts. So look for much higher prices, probably going to, let's get a good estimate of where this is going to. Probably going to, get rid of all this. Probably looking at something around, let's just say this goes up here to like 545. You could get a decent sized pullback, maybe 534. And then you're just going to be looking at it like this. So 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5, like this. My original target was 560. I'll probably just stick with that. I don't think 600 is going to be reachable on this move, but 560 could be reachable. So we'll see how it goes, but one more pump into OPEX, pull back into early July, and then another pump after that. So the move is not finished yet, and let's get on to individual stocks. Apple, I think Apple might have one more pump, potentially. It looks like this was a third wave right here. So just like SPY, I'm expecting maybe a pullback here, maybe something like this. Maybe this is why I wanted to sell my put and I missed it. Maybe something like that, and then probably one more move higher. So maybe this pulls back while SPY makes a new high, and then the real pullback for the fourth wave, it comes down farther and then makes a new high to finish it off. Overall, I think that Apple is probably in a diagonal. That makes the most sense to me. So I was originally thinking this maybe was 5 waves, but it doesn't really make sense when you think about the structure of SPY. So this is probably going to end up being something like this. Let's just say we go up here to 230 on the next pump, and then it pulls all the way back here to like 195 to the election, and then you get one more fifth wave higher like that. And who knows how high it'll go then. So I'm thinking the diagonal makes the most sense. 5 waves isn't going to really make sense unless they can pump it. If somehow they pump it to 260, which is very unlikely, then that would make it a normal 5 waves. But right now, I think a diagonal makes the most sense. Come down here into the first wave. There's a demand zone at 192 to 195, and then you get one more high after that. And that high, let's say we go down to 195 and this hits 230, that would mean that this could only be $66. So you're probably looking at something around maybe 260. 250 to 260 like that. So maybe sometime in mid 2025. So Apple, third wave, not finished yet, I don't think, but it's getting close. All right, Tesla, I made a video on this. It's, let me zoom in here. I basically have all my options in ranges now with Tesla. I don't trade anything short term. I just do FAR options, I sell puts, sell covered calls, and I do them in ranges, so I don't have to worry about the smaller time frame. So when I'm looking at this on smaller time frame, I don't really care that much because I know where I'm going to sell and where I'm going to buy. But this is probably going to pump one more time, I would think, up here to 185, maybe 190, like I said in the video. And again, if it does end up coming down here right away, then I would be looking to buy probably in the low 170s, add to my call position that I sold today. And I would be saying that this is probably not finished yet. This is probably only wave 1 of the C wave. So if it pumps up here, C wave is probably finished. Pulls back here, it's probably the second wave of the C wave. So I'm looking for something like this. Either that, or I'm looking at it like this. Or that. So up here, sell calls, pull back, buy calls, sell put. I bought a put at 178 that I can average into. And overall, the structure again is just showing that we're probably going to pull back. No matter if it goes to 190, it's probably going to come back down here to 170. Unfortunately, it might even come lower. It might come down to like 165. So Tesla is pretty easy to trade right now, and you should be taking advantage of this. Like for instance, I'm giving you an idea of what I've been doing. I've been buying 117, 175 calls, knowing that the overall structure is bullish, but it also gives me time, and I can just unload on these pops. If I don't think it's going to go to 240 right away, I can just unload, make $200-300 on each one of them, each contract, and then just slowly unload them and then buy puts. Right now my put is 190 for 719, which is far in the money, but my thinking on that is if it does keep on going higher, I can just average into that put and take profit on my sold puts and my calls. So some people like to trade short term, but right now on Tesla, I don't like it. I like to trade short term on moves like this. So when you have a move like this, I can buy like 1 or 2 day options and make a bunch of money. I can go down to the 1 minute and trade in and out. But on these moves where it's very choppy, I like to buy farther out. So kind of an explanation of what I'm doing with Tesla. CRM, I started a position here today. This is a long term if I'm wrong and it keeps on going down, but this is daily demand. I bought maybe a third or a fourth of my position that I would totally buy. It's in demand. I was going to average down around 233. So I bought at 236. 233 is my next buy-in. If it breaks below that, this is a lot of support down here. I'd buy more. I think this is going up here to fill the gap at 270. So I don't even really care about the count that much. It's just that you can see here the 1.61 fib is at 271. So I'm just buying shares in this one. Microsoft. I didn't look at this all day. 441. I think this might be similar to Apple. Like I said in the video yesterday, this is very similar. It's a smaller version though, I think. Potentially, this is a diagonal right here. Because the fourth wave ended right here. Let's go back to the overall first wave. So could this be finished? The third wave ended right here. And so could this be finished? It could be close to being finished. But just going by what I expect Apple to do and the rest of them to do, this is probably just the beginning of a, kind of looks like a diagonal to me too on this one. This right here basically hits the 1.61 fib. Then you pull back here. This is probably a third wave of diagonal as well, in my opinion. So potentially this goes a little bit higher over the next like couple of weeks, like Apple, and then you get a pullback that could last a while, and then you get that final pump up here. 480 was my target. Still sticking with that. Nvidia was pumping today. I said it was topped out, but I was obviously way wrong on that. And again, I have not done the count on this, so I'm not even going to try to chart it right now. And I still don't know why this candle is here like this. Why is this up here? 195? I don't think it was ever at 195. The split must have messed up the chart. AMD. So AMD, I think, is another reason, another chart you can look at and be like, all right, we're going higher still. And I think it's probably going to be one of the biggest gainers here soon. So we get this move up, and right now we're just consolidating for that B wave or the second wave. I do think there's a chance this can come all the way down here to at 153 now. Fill this gap at 153. And again, like I've been saying, it doesn't matter to me if it goes to 153 because it's still going to go all the way up here to 190. So AMD is probably going to pump big here soon. You can see here on smaller time frames, it was trying to pump today, but then you just see how corrective this is. You get ABC, pullback, big move higher, and then it comes back down into this wave. And then another move higher, that's ABC. That's a corrective move. And now you're getting this move down. Is it possible it pumps up here and then comes down? Sure, but I don't really like this movement that much for a pump higher. It is in demand, so maybe it comes up here, but overall, it kind of looks to me like it might come down here to 153. We'll see if I'm right on that or not. 153 would be around the same time that SPY sells off. And then the final pump, AMD goes to 190. That's what I'm looking at right now. Dollar, pretty flat. Rivian was pumping today. I don't know. They had some kind of news, but they dumped on the news that rate cuts are not going to be, there's not 3 rate cuts, and they're not happening today. So most growth stocks fell off as soon as that news came out, and Rivian is no exception. So yeah, this just looks like another failed breakout attempt in my opinion, and we'll see what happens from here. It looks to me, let's just see. I mean, this does look like it is potentially 5 waves. This hit the 1.61 fib, pullback, another move down. But this move also looks very corrective. I wouldn't be surprised on Rivian if you ended up getting another move down here, back down to like $10, and then it pumped after that. It doesn't look to me like this is a good breakout area. There is a gap up here though. That would be the next target if it were to break out right up here at $15. And below, we'll see. It's down after hours too. So it's kind of stupid that the rate cut talk completely just tanks growth stocks right away. Like SoFi was breaking out at 740 at one point. What did it end up at? SoFi now at finished at 707. So you can see how stupid this all is, really, when it comes down to it. It's like, no, you can't break out yet. We're not going to cut rates. But that's just the way the market is. Got to go with it. Let's take a look at the flow real quick over the stocks I went over. So Tesla, really not that much. I saw some in the money puts. Let's go to 500,000. Only the call 500,000. Let's not do weekly only. Okay. Only thing over 500,000 was this, above the ask. At or below the ask. Whoops. Get out of here. Okay. So that's definitely a put. And they kind of did something similar to me. They bought way in the money. You have more puts right here at 177. So these were all bought at the high of the day after the rate. No, this one's the only one after the rate decision. So 177, a 180 put, 800,000. This one was right before it at 179.34. So in my opinion, you're probably going to see a tank on Tesla. Although IV did go down on this, that is a sign that they are actually selling puts. So again, it's like one of those things. I like to look at above the ask, because if I look at these right here, I'm guessing if they're selling or if they're buying. So based on the IV going down, I would say they're actually selling puts. But this one right here is probably them buying puts. So I don't know on Tesla. Let's look at Apple. Apple had pretty much all bullish flow until the end of the day. You see, let's go to above the ask. So calls the whole way down till 140, and then after that, let's do 140 on. So at 214, 1.42 million, you got a call. You only have this one put at 213, and it's a 205 strike. So tough to say if that is a call or a put, or a sold put or a bought put, but you're getting a lot of calls down here too. Not really, I don't really know, to be honest, on this one. I think that Apple, like I said, is probably going to pull back and then one more move down and then pump one more time. So not clear on that. Let's go over, let's see if Rivian had anything. Nope. None of these growth stocks really ever have anything, except for Palantir. I saw Palantir had something today over 200,000. So they had one at $30 call at 24.30, 24.10. They also had a call. I think those are probably actually calls, and then this is probably a real put. Those are both. If those are both calls and puts, they're both going to print, because I think Palantir is probably going to the high 20s, low 30s, and then within that same time frame, it's probably going to fall. Let's go over Microsoft, and then I'll go over SPY and QQQ, and that's pretty much it. Microsoft, you got calls coming in at 442. Can't tell what those are because they're not above the ask. Let's go to above the ask. At 441, at 108, you had above the ask call, but only 529,000. What was the top of the day? Top of the day was 444. They could have already sold those. We don't know. So nothing clear on Microsoft. Let's look at SPY now. And here we go. SPY with a lot of put flow going into the end of the day, above the ask. These were the only ones that are above 500,000 above the ask, and you can look how bearish that is. Above the ask, 2.5 million, 1.2 million, 530 and 535. Like I just said, I think there's a very good chance that this goes back to 530. Let's pull it back up. So again, maybe something like this. Move up here to like maybe 545 and then sell off down here to 530. So look for one more pump into the end of the week and then a sell off on SPY. You can see the put flow. So that means you got to be ready for a pullback on all your names. Growth stocks are probably going to pull back pretty hard, I would imagine. QQQ. A little bit different. You do have this put at 470. That was the highest premium bought. And yeah, that's pretty much all I see, but QQQ is going to be similar to SPY. It'll probably pull back after one more pump. So you're probably going to see a lot more put flow on this after it makes one more high, I would imagine. So overall, thesis is still up over the next couple of weeks. And then after that, you're probably going to get a pullback. Or not next week or so, probably up next week. Pullback into early July, and then one more pump maybe into like mid-July or something. So that's pretty much it. Kind of a long video. Let me know if there's any stocks you want me to take a look at. I can look at the option flow on. Usually, though, a lot of these smaller stocks you can't really get good direction on because I would have to go down to like 50,000 to see any kind of flow on them. And you can kind of look like Carvana, 125,000. That's a lot for it. And then a bunch of stocks you don't even know sometimes. ARM really has been pumping like crazy. So yeah, that's pretty much it. I didn't see very many different names though, besides the main ones in the market today. And last one to look at is just NVIDIA. Let's do above 500,000. So NVIDIA did have some calls here, 719.24 at 126 spot. Makes sense. Market's probably going to go higher over the next month. And yeah, I'm just going to leave it at that for now. Let me know in the comments if you have any stocks you want me to take a look at, including with the put call flow. And let me know what you think about the market. Do you think we're going to crash here soon? Do you think we're going to pull back? Where do you think we're headed to? Do you agree with me? We're going to go higher into July and then pull back into the election? Or are we just going to pump and keep on pumping all the way to the election? Anyway, that's it. Kind of a long video, but I think it was needed to go over the indexes and some of the main stocks. Let's see what happens tomorrow with Tesla. We got the vote coming in tomorrow. We're going to get the news. That is one thing that could change all the technical analysis. A pretty big day. At 180, there was a $8 move priced in. So 172 or 188. So we'll see what happens with Tesla. That's it for now. Leave me a comment, like, subscribe. Thanks for watching. Have a good night.